Welcome back to the Garage Gang. It's time for another episode of the Token Teardown, and you better strap in tight. This one's a viewer request, and you picked a hot one. If you're new here, this is where we take your favorite token, roll it into the garage, and find out if it's a legit performance build, or just another project with a good paint job and no horsepower. Today, we're rolling Games for a Living, ticker GFAL, into the bay. We're going to find out if this thing's a finely tuned Audi R8, built for precision and performance, or just a flashy kit car with racing stripes and no engine. And yeah, we know what you're waiting for. We'll hit those price predictions because that's everybody's favorite lane. But before we get there, we've got to answer the real question. Does this project actually deserve space in your bag? Before we drop the clutch, make sure you smash that like, hit follow, and share it with your fellow crypto bros. Or that uncle still rocking his Bored Ape hoodie, talking about how he should have bought Bitcoin at $3,000 and should have got XRP at 50 cents. Maybe this time he'll stop should-having all over himself because here in the garage, we make crypto so everyone gets it. Now, before we lift the hood, big shout out to Christian, aka XXX. He's the one doing the heavy lifting all week, reading white papers, checking code, scraping blockchains, and tightening every bolt of data so these teardowns are even possible. All right, time to meet the pit crew. Every precision build needs experts under the hood, and this one's tuned by some of the best in the business. When you first hear about Games for a Living, ticker GFAL, you might not realize the team behind it is straight up legendary. So, who's really wrenching on this thing? Let's pop the hood and find out. At the top of the leaderboard, Trip Hawkins. He didn't just work in gaming, he helped define it. Founder of Electronic Arts and one of the pioneers of the modern games industry. He's the guy who proved pixels could build empires. And when Web3 showed up, he saw the next platform shift coming. Then there's Manel Sort, a Spanish game dev veteran with more than 20 years in the industry, over 60 shipped games, and a track record managing studios that generated over $1 billion in revenue. He recognized Trip's vision. Blockchain not as speculation, but as true player ownership. And together they sparked the GFAL engine. Next up is Javier Leon, co-founder and art director with 26 years as a CGI specialist and art director across Europe and the US, and an Emmy nomination for his work on The Crown. He said, if Web3 is going to change gaming, it has to look as good as it plays. And he's delivering that AAA polish to every GFAL title. Then we've got the ex-Blizzard veterans, Christian Gascons, GFAL COO and technical director, and Mark Tormo, game director. Both bring decades of experience and that Blizzard discipline, clean code, stable builds, and gameplay that just feels right. Put it all together, over 100 years of combined experience, more than 60 shipped titles, and over $1 billion in game revenue. They're not chasing hype. They've seen every shift, and now they're building the next one. This isn't a DeFi side project or another play-to-earn clone. This is a Hall of Fame pit crew building the future of gaming ownership from the ground up. It's not hype, it's heritage. And that engine, it's about to roar. All right, the hood's up. Let's see what this thing's built on. Today, Games for a Living runs on Binance Smart Chain. It's fast, cheap, and proven. But the Barcelona crew isn't stopping there. They're building their own chain, the GFAL network, an EVM-compatible system designed for gaming. Now, for the coders in the back, EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. It's the engine that runs smart contracts. Basically, the code layer that makes blockchain apps work. If you've ever written Solidity or deployed a dApp, you're already driving an EVM car. By making their own chain compatible with that same engine, GFAL lets developers bring over existing tools, wallets, and contracts without rewriting everything from scratch. For everyone else, here's the plain garage version. Think of EVM as the universal socket wrench of crypto. It fits almost every major chain out there. So if your game runs on Ethereum or Binance today, it can bolt right onto GFAL tomorrow with almost no friction. That's what EVM compatible really means. It's plug and play, not rip and replace. The goal is simple. The blockchain disappears, and players just play. Transactions happen in the background while the game stays front and center. No lag, no wallet pop-ups, no waiting on confirmations. Now, let's talk tools. GFAL's gaming SDK is the real game changer here. It's a drop-in toolkit for Unity or Unreal that handles wallet authentication, NFT minting, on-chain leaderboards, and marketplace hooks, all behind clean methods. You initialize, start a session, sign your actions, no messy setup, no custom RPC juggling. It's opinionated enough to be safe, but flexible enough for any game engine. For everyone else, think of it like a universal wrench. Developers plug it in and everything just works. One login, your items are yours, your wins save, your trades go through. You don't even realize blockchain's running under the hood. It just works. Now let's talk GFAL ID. For devs, it's single sign-on that ties a user's wallets and in-game assets together without ever exposing secrets. For players, it's one key that starts every car in the garage, one login, every game. No key rings, no seed phrases, no frustration. Then there's the fuel, the GFAL token. It powers everything. Fees, mints, transactions, and soon validator staking when the new chain goes live. They're driving a tuned daily driver right now, but the race motor's being built out back. When it drops in, the controls stay the same, you just get more torque. This isn't some white paper fantasy. This is a machine that already runs laps. And when that new block drops in, you'll hear it before you see it. Because Web3 gaming's about to sound a whole lot louder. Now, here's the part most people miss. GFAL isn't a full-blown layer 1 just yet. Not yet. Right now, the project runs as a Binance-based token on Binance Smart Chain, and that's by design. They picked BSC because it's fast, proven, cheap to run, and built on the same EVM architecture that powers Ethereum, meaning any dev who can write Solidity can already wrench on this engine. That's the smart play. Start with a solid drivetrain before you build your own chassis. But make no mistake, the crew in Barcelona isn't content staying in someone else's garage. In the back of the shop, they're welding up their own GFAL network, a dedicated EVM-compatible chain built purely for gaming. It's still on the stand, not bolted in yet. But the pistons are forged, the blocks balanced, and the dyno tests are already happening. They're using Saga chainlets as test tracks, spinning up isolated circuits for each major title, like Diamond Dreams, so they can push Redline without clogging the main lane. Right now, they're driving a tuned daily driver. But behind that bay door, there's a race car in the making, built to go from 0 to block finality in under 3 seconds with micro gas fees and cross-game connectivity that makes the whole ecosystem hum. So to be clear, today, GFAL is a Binance-based token, stable, efficient, and already live. In progress is their own GFAL network, a gaming-specific Layer 1 chain, using Saga as the proving ground. When it's ready, that new motor drops right in. Same tools, same parts, same feel, just way more horsepower. That's the vision. Start on a proven platform, build your own from scratch, and upgrade without ever taking your foot off the gas. When the GFAL network goes live, it won't just be another chain. It'll be the first one built by AAA veterans specifically for gamers. So yeah, it's not a full Layer 1 yet, but it's closer than most projects ever get, and the engine's already warm. Once that swap happens, Web3 gaming's gonna go from whisper quiet to wide open throttle. Now here's where the story really shifts gears, because it's not just about what's under the hood, it's about why this car had to be built in the first place. Let's be honest, most Web3 games drive like a busted go-kart with square tires. They look cool sitting still, shiny trailers, big promises, but the second you hit the throttle, everything shakes, stalls, or catches fire. Players hate the friction, developers hate the complexity, and the few projects that actually moved couldn't keep traction once the hype wore off. That's the mess Games for a Living rolled into the garage to fix. If you're on the dev side of the crew, you already know the problem. Early play-to-earn systems had broken economies, tokens printing faster than they burned, zero player retention, and onboarding that felt like solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. GFAL's team looked at that and said, the problem isn't the tech, it's the handling. You can have a monster engine, but if the steering's sloppy and the tires don't grip, you're just spinning out on the first corner. So they rebuilt the suspension. They made fun first, ownership second, and ease third. Because if the game doesn't handle like a dream, no one's driving it long enough to care about the tech. For the folks in the shop, here's the translation. Most of those old Web3 projects were hot rods with no brakes, all torque, no control. GFAL's taking the opposite approach, tuning for balance. They're making games people actually want to play first, then layering in the blockchain quietly underneath, like traction control you don't even realize is there. The goal? You play because it's fun, not because you're farming tokens. And when you win that rare item or unlock a hero, you actually own it. Trade it, sell it, keep it, your call. No publisher, no middleman, no server shutdown wiping your progress. That's what Trip Hawkins and Manel Sort saw when they looked under the hood of this industry. Trip's been through this before. He watched gaming evolve from cartridges to CDs, from consoles to mobile. And every time, the next era started when players got more control. This time, control isn't about joysticks or app stores. It's about ownership. So GFAL's building something that feels like the games you already love. Fast, polished, accessible, but with blockchain doing all the heavy lifting in the background. No pop-up wallets, no 15-click tutorials. Just play, earn, and own. In short, they're fixing what the rest of Web3 wrecked, handling. GFAL's goal isn't to reinvent gaming, it's to make blockchain invisible. The same way you don't think about your transmission when you're flying down the highway. You just shift and it works. That's the promise. Smooth power, real ownership, zero friction. The kind of ride that makes you forget it's Web3 because it just drives like a supercar. So now that we know how this thing handles, let's talk about what keeps it running, the fuel system. Because every build, no matter how clean the bodywork or tight the suspension, needs the right mix to stay alive. In crypto, that mix is called tokenomics. Sounds fancy, but it's really just short for token economics. How much fuel exists, who gets it, when it unlocks, and what it's used for. Get that wrong, and the engine sputters. Get it right, and it runs smooth for years. For GFAL, that fuel is the GFAL token, the heartbeat of the entire ecosystem. There are 10 billion tokens total, all minted on day one. No hidden mint button, no mystery inflation, no, oops, we printed more. What's out there is what exists, period. Now here's how it's tuned. Vesting runs through 2032, releasing gradually so the tank never floods all at once. Right now, those tokens live on Binance Smart Chain. Fast, efficient, low cost. But just like the rest of the project, the crew plans to shift the system onto their own chain once the GFAL network is ready to drop. Here's what that means in real-world terms. Whenever a player buys an in-game item, trades on the marketplace, or mints an NFT, a small bit of GFAL fuel gets used. That's what keeps the engine moving. Developers use GFAL to access the SDK and run their games on the platform. And once their own chain goes live, validators will stake GFAL to keep the network secure and earn rewards. So it's one token, but it powers the entire garage. Every car, every game, every transaction runs on the same blend. There's a limited number of drums in the warehouse, and nobody's sneaking in at night to top it off. That scarcity keeps the economy balanced. Not too rich, not too lean, just the right ratio to keep the motor purring. And because the team actually understands how economics work, not just hype, they baked a burn mechanic right into the system. Every time the ecosystem moves, a small amount of GFAL is permanently removed from circulation. That's your exhaust system doing its job, letting out pressure and keeping supply tight. For the coders in the back, it's a closed-loop design, predictable emissions curve, fixed supply, real utility, and built-in sinks through fees and burns. For everyone else, it's just a smart fuel system that cleans itself as it runs. That's why this build doesn't sputter when you rev it. The flow's controlled, the math makes sense, and the tank's filled with premium fuel. GFAL's token isn't just something you hold, it's something you use. It moves, it burns, it earns, and it keeps the machine alive. That's tokenomics done right. Not hype, not chaos, just engineering. All right, we've talked about the handling and the fuel system. Now let's take this thing out on the open road and see where it's heading. Because even the best built engine doesn't mean much if there's no road ahead. And this is where Games for a Living really starts to separate itself from the pack. They're not pitching promises, they're shipping results. Right now, they've already got real, playable titles on the road. Not concepts, not trailers. Elemental Raiders is their flagship. A hero battler that's already live across PC and mobile, with over 100,000 active players. It's smooth, balanced, and runs on multiple tracks. Android, iOS, and desktop. It's proof this machine actually runs laps. Then there's Diamond Dreams, a luxury-themed Match 3 title that feels like Candy Crush crossed with a Rolex commercial. It's built on Saga's infrastructure with ray-traced graphics, blending AI and artistry so slick it looks like an interactive film. And it's not buried in some Web3 only corner. It's out in the open on Google Play and the App Store. That's the point. Make blockchain gaming feel like gaming again. And the roadmap? It's dialed in. Over the next year, the crew's got more titles rolling off the line. Jump Pump, Dead Zombie, and Soccer Legends, each plugged into the same GFAL economy, all powered by the same token fuel. They're not reinventing the wheel. They're building a full production line. Every new game feeds the ecosystem. More players, more transactions, more burns, more value cycling through the tank. Here's the timeline they've mapped out. Late 2025. Elemental Raiders 2.0, full mobile rollout with on-chain inventory. Early 2026, Diamond Dreams Season 1 and GFAL's first third-party game integration. Mid-2026, Marketplace 2.0, cross-game trading and social features that link every player garage together. 2027, the SDK opens up for outside studios. That's when this thing scales, when developers worldwide start tuning their own games on the GFAL engine. Now let's talk about the GFAL network. Their upcoming Layer 1. There's no countdown clock, no fake hype. It's being forged quietly, tested through Saga's chainlet architecture, and refined until it's track ready. They're taking the smart approach. Run laps, collect data, tighten bolts, and make sure it redlines clean before opening the throttle. Right now, GFAL's running smooth on Binance Smart Chain, stable, cheap, and fast. It's the perfect daily driver while they build the race car out back. When the time comes to swap in the new engine, it won't be a test drive. It'll be a full race launch. And here's what's wild. This isn't theory. You can download, log in, and play today. They're not waiting on bull markets or investor hype. Every patch, every season, every feature adds more grip to the tires. They're already running laps while everyone else is still tuning in the pits. Their adoption strategy is just as clean. Instead of forcing players through crypto hoops, GFAL meets them where they already are. Steam, the App Store, and Galaxy Store, with ownership hidden under the hood. Most players won't even realize they're on-chain until they decide to trade or cash out. That's how you onboard the next 100 million gamers. Make the fun come first. And let the tech fade into the background, because the next big wave of crypto adoption isn't coming from traders. It's coming from gamers. GFAL knows that. They're not building for the hype cycle. They're building for the long haul. This isn't a sprint. It's an endurance race. The tracks are laid, the crew's in position, the cars are tuned, and the laps are already underway. They're not chasing trends. They're building history. And when the green flag drops, they'll already be half a lap ahead. And now we roll into everyone's favorite part, the part that gets the garage crowd leaning over the rail every single time. That's right, the money section. Or as we like to say here in the shop, show me the moolah. This is where the rubber meets the road. All the tech, all the games, all the talk. It's just torque and fury until we see how this thing performs on the dyno. So let's pop the hood and read the gauges. Right now, GFAL's trading just above 1/4 of a cent, sitting around 0.00236, right there on the gauges. Market cap's roughly $8.86 million, with a fully diluted value just under 24 million. About 63% of the total supply is circulating, roughly 6.3 billion tokens out of the full 10 billion. 24-hour trading volumes holding steady around $180,000, up about 50% on the week. Real volume, not ghost data. And with nearly 19,600 holders, this thing's got quiet torque building under the hood. So yeah, this isn't a dead project sitting on blocks. It's a small cap engine idling hot, waiting for traction. GFAL's trading like a build with clean fundamentals, steady growth, and a pit crew that actually knows how to tune. Now, with the gauges lit, let's widen the shot and look down the straightaway. Because to really understand where this thing could go, you've got to see the bigger race. Right now, the entire crypto market sits new $2 trillion. Solid, but still just the warm-up lap. Now imagine a future where crypto isn't a niche. It's the backbone of the global financial system. Regulations are clear, adoption's mainstream, and blockchain isn't the alternative, it's the standard. That's a $20 trillion racetrack. Bitcoin's digital gold. Ethereum's the engine of the internet. And the rest of the field is filled with specialized machines, gaming, AI, and next-gen networks, all running side by side. And right in that mix, games for a living. Not a gimmick, not a clone. A real Web3 gaming studio with its own ecosystem, network, and working fuel system. So let's take this one lap at a time. Cruise mode, the steady lane. Crypto's matured. Regulations are in place, and blockchain gaming has found its rhythm. Millions of players across Elemental Raiders and Diamond Dreams are just playing. Not thinking about wallets or blockchains. GFAL's token keeps its lane steady, growing with the industry, reliable, recognized, and well-tuned. That puts the token around 1 cent, roughly a 4 times move from where it's idling now. Nothing flashy, just clean power and consistent handling. Overtake mode, the momentum build. Here's where things get interesting. Web3 gaming hits full traction. GFAL sponsoring esports tournaments, creators are flexing their on-chain items, and new studios are lining up to use the SDK because it's cheaper, faster, and already works. The GFAL network is live, Saga's infrastructure is humming, and cross-game trading is seamless. Now you're looking at 3 cents a token, maybe higher, about a 12 times move from today. The brand's visible, the user base is expanding, and analysts start calling it the Steam of Web3. Full send mode, the moonshot lap. This is the dream run. The lights go green, the market's roaring, and crypto isn't just an investment anymore, it's the economy itself. GFAL's network powers major mobile and console titles across continents. Trip Hawkins is back on screen, talking about how true digital ownership redefined gaming forever. Players in Tokyo, London, and Sao Paulo are trading assets instantly across GFAL-powered games. The line between gamer and investor disappears completely. In that world, GFAL could be sitting between $1 and $2 a token. 100 times move from where it stands today? That's billion-dollar ecosystem territory. Still small compared to Bitcoin, but massive for a gaming platform that started as a lean Binance-based token with an $8.86 million market cap. And then there's the black swan lane. Because in this garage, we don't just feed you hopium. We show you everything that could happen. Because let's face it, sometimes shit happens. Maybe adoption slows. Maybe a big studio delays a launch. Maybe the new chain rollout takes longer than expected. Or the market catches a bad downdraft. Crypto can turn on a dime. One week you're redlining, the next you're coasting on fumes. In that kind of skid, GFAL could slide back toward a tenth of a cent. That's not a crash. That's a reset lap. The difference is this crew doesn't quit. They rebuild, they retune, and they fire it right back up for another run. The data's clean, the build's legit, and the torque, it's real. GFAL isn't hype, it's horsepower waiting for traction. Yes, this project sounds like the real deal. The team's proven, the tech's solid, and the tokenomics are tuned just right. But before you go out and start spending your life savings, we need to tell you one thing. First, none of this is financial advice. But second, the head of technical analysis here in the garage isn't who you think it is. Her name's Lulu, and she's a pig. Yeah, a real one. 4 hooves, curly tail, and a nose sharp enough to sniff resistance levels before the candles even form. She's the one running the numbers, snout deep in the data, eyes locked on the rollers, watching those RPNs climb while the rest of us just listen to the motor sing. She's good, scary good. But at the end of the day, she's still a pig. So if you're out here taking investment advice from a pig, that's on you. This isn't Wall Street. This is garage education. We pull the data, fire up the dyno, and show you what's really under the hood. What you do with it, that's all you. Now cue the dyno lights. The rollers spin, the motor whines, and Lulu's tapping the console as the numbers climb. Technology, 9 out of 10. Live SDK, EVM-compatible chain in the works. Saga chainlets already proving scalability. This build isn't theory, it's track-tested tech. Team, 9.5 out of 10. Trip Hawkins built EA. Manel Sort built Candy Crush. Javier Leone's delivering AAA visuals with Emmy-level artistry. Gascons and Tormo bring Blizzard precision. That's a pit crew you can trust. Tokenomics, 7.5 out of 10. 10 billion fixed supply, lawn vesting through 2032. Clean emissions curve, and a real burn system. It's disciplined like a tuned ECU. Adoption, 8 out of 10. Real games, real players, live right now. Elemental Raiders, Diamond Dreams, and more already rolling. Community, 7 out of 10. Smaller, but loyal. Real gamers and real investors, not bots and burners. Narrative, 8 out of 10. Web3 gaming plus AI, the story this next cycle's built for. Risk, 6 out of 10. Execution and timing on that new Layer 1 launch still matter. Miss the shift, you lose traction. Hit it clean, and you're off to the races. Alpha potential, 9 out of 10. Microcap with billion-dollar talent behind it, that's asymmetrical torque. Small engine, massive output. Lulu snorts, flicks her tail, and slaps the dyno panel. Readings lock in. Average dyno score, 8.2 out of 10. Garage certified contender. The data's clean. The torque's real. This machine's ready for the next lap. Before you roll out, check out gurucryptogarage.guru. It's free, no paywall, no fluff, just every teardown and dyno report straight from the pit. And if there's a project you want up on the lift next week, drop it in the comments. We see them all, and yours just might be the next one we tear down. Keep your charts tight, your wallet safe. And whatever you do, don't let emotion drive the wheel. And as always, let it rip.